I'm going to go in and again, you know the subject, so don't do this if the person that wouldn't like this. But let's go in first, and again, we could make that non-destructive, convert for smart filters, and we could go in and we could say, I want to do liquefy. So we'll do a liquefy because liquefy is kind of cool in that it has the ability to do just like standard stuff. Like if you need to push in a wrinkle here and there, you can do that kind of stuff. So you can see me just warping that. That's not what I want to do. What I came here for was to do face aware liquefy. So I click the face icon on the left hand side, and there I'm going to Kathy's asking, what did clarity do on the subject, on the portrait? So texture is literally just texture. So think of texture as like the pores and the grain and just making that stuff more defined. Clarity is what we had before texture, and it would do the same thing, but clarity also adjusts the shadows and highlights. So it makes your portrait look more defined, if that makes sense. So it brings up the shadows, or I'm sorry, darkens the shadows, brings up the highlights, in addition to adding a little texture. So if you just want texture, use the texture slider. If you don't mind adjusting the lighting of the subject using shadows and highlights, use clarity. Or try both, see if you like it. All right, so next up, I'm going to go ahead, and now we've got face aware liquefy. So it recognizes the shape of his face, recognizes his nose, recognizes his eyes, everything there. But I'm going to come down to the smile here, and it's going to turn that up. There, see, he's already happier. He's like, I'm liking this. He's happier right off the bat. Just turn that up a little bit. Okay, so now I got that turned up. That's great. We could leave it there, and I'm already like before and after. I'm already happier that he's just a little happier. He's not frowning. But we can go further if you want. Filter, neural filters. And in neural filters, there's a smart portrait filter. I'm going to go ahead and turn on the smart portrait filter because there's, come on, you can't make this up. There's a happiness slider. What program has a happiness slider built in? All right, so we can just go ahead and crank up the happiness slider if we wanted him more happy. Now, this is going to take a few moments to process because it uploads a proxy to the cloud where we have big servers that can do it faster, theoretically, and process that one part of the image. There we go. It even added teeth. Come on, where do you get this? Like teeth, like there was no teeth. It made them up using AI. So this is too happy. You can always turn it down. You can turn it off. You don't have to do any of this. But I told you we would have some fun with this one. All right, the eyes aren't happy. They are now. All right, so let's click OK. And I think I told it to output that. Oh, no, I didn't. I thought I told it to output it to a new layer, but it's okay. We use the smart filter layer, so we can always turn that off or turn it on and see what it does. Now, if I turn that on, you have to look for artifacts. You have to look for things that, like, because it adjusted his face, we can't leave his ears like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to just simply add a mask. And I'm either going to have to use the original because I didn't output. Okay, so here's what I meant to do. Let's undo the neural filter. Okay, here's what I meant to do when I ran that neural filter. So let's do it right. Neural filters, because it's going to make the next part of this easier if you do it this way. All right, neural filters, what I should have done was after I ran happiness, which it's going to do, again, process in the cloud. Angry smile. Yeah, no, that's not acceptable. We can't leave his ear like that. But let's go let that process. What I should have done, okay, we see the ear. Instead of outputting to a smart filter, what I should have done was said output to a new layer. And that way, when it outputs it, it'll make a whole new layer of just that filter. That way, you can go in and mask it. And now that it's been masked, I can go into my brush and I can come in with a black brush and just brush that part back in because using the original layer underneath. So any of the stuff that got changed around his head, is now back to normal, because what we were only looking for was the facial expression, not the shape of his face being changed. Okay, just some fun with that portrait. So again, this is all layer based, so if you don't want any of this, you can go back to your guy. But if you want your guy to be a little happier, you can come and do that. All right, so let's close that, save it, and we'll let that save, and it'll put a copy of that back to Lightroom Classic. So I'm reading some of the comments on the other platforms. So, where are you from? I'm watching your live stream. I'm from